Well, how y'all are? It's your native Flor-xan, and we're going to experiment today. I saw something at the grocery store. Actually, I've seen it several times, and I've always wanted to try to make something out of it. And so that's what we're doing today. So hang in there and let's get into it. Alright, so I'm sure some of y'all have heard of a Cheappino, and I've always wanted to make one, but a cheaper version. So instead of going and buying clams and mussels and all the expensive seafood, I wanted to try to make a Cheappino, and that's what we're going to work on today. Alright, so starting out, we're going to add some olive oil to our pot here. Alright, so I got some chopped up fennel, going to add it into our pot. I got some chopped up celery and then some chopped up white onion, probably about a half a cup of each. We're just going to soften these down to get our Cheappino started. So while our vegetables are sweating down, if you're not familiar with the Cheappino, a Cheappino is an Italian seafood dish that comes with like a tomato sauce type deal, or red gravy as some people might call it, but very, very delicious. And it normally comes with, you know, fresh mussels, fresh clams, maybe some calamari or some octopus, shrimp, and fish. And so, but when you go to the grocery store to buy all them things to make it, it's fairly expensive. At the store I found this seafood mix, which is essentially the octopus, mussels, calamari, and shrimp at the amazing cost of about $5 for that bag. So hence the name Cheappino. We're going to see how it turns out. Like I said, we're just experimenting. My favorite part of cooking is coming up with something new, so we'll see how it turns out. Alright, our vegetables are sweated down. I got about 2, maybe 3 tablespoons of some minced garlic I'm going to add, and then I got some fennel tops. Now you don't have to use the fennel. Some places it's kind of hard to find. I just saw it at the grocery store and thought, you know, that's part of it, let's use it. I'm going to get this mixed in real good. I wish GoPro would come up with smell-o-vision so y'all could smell this, because it is smelling awesome. I got a 28-ounce can of some diced tomatoes that I'm going to throw in there. Alright, and I'm going to add a half a cup of some Chardonnay. Wine's very important in this dish. You don't want your seafood sober. You got to add a little wine, get them a little tipsy. And we're going to add an 8-ounce can of some tomato sauce. Alright, we're going to bring this up to a boil, and then we'll start adding our seafood to it. Alright, this is starting to get a little simmer. What I got is some fresh basil. You can use dried if you want. And then I got some fresh oregano as well. Again, a dried version will work well in this as well. And then next, while it's coming up, I'm just going to add some house seasoning, salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. Alright, so we got us a little bit of a boil going in. I got a black drum fillet that I just happen to have in the freezer. Gonna kind of scatter that out through there. Then we got our mix that we thawed, and then I did rinse it. I like to, whenever I get seafood out of the freezer, I like to rinse it off. To me, it gets rid of some of that fishy flavor that you get. We're just gonna dump this down in there. Just submerge it into our gravy here. Let that come back up to a simmer. I'm not going to stir this a bunch because I don't want to break that fish up too bad, but I do want to move it around a bit, make sure that we got everything submerged to where it can get cooked real well. Now everything in that bag is pretty much pre-cooked, so we just kind of got to warm it up. While it's coming up, I'm going to add the juice of 1 lime just to kind of brighten up them flavors in there. You could use lemon if you want, but lime's what I have. Alright, so we come back up to a simmer. I'm just going to check a piece of that fish. It's nice and flaky. It's cooked all the way through. And you don't have to do this, but when I was digging through the freezer looking for the fish, I found some frozen cooked shrimp. So I'm just going to go ahead and add them in here, just to add a little more protein. Stir that in. We're going to shut that pot off, cover it up, and let it sit while I go make some bread. Alright, so we got our Cheappino here. I'm just gonna put some here on the plate. And y'all, if y'all haven't seen these deep dish plates from Dixie, I really like them. They're good for doing stuff like this because then you don't have to have a bowl. We got our Cheappino, and I know it looks mostly like shrimp, but that's okay. I got our bread, and all I did was take and upstairs, toast it under the broiler, put a little garlic powder and olive oil on it, and then toasted it up. But let's get down on this dude and see how it tastes. Got me some of that fish and shrimp here. Man, that's good. Man, that's good. Let me grab some of this other stuff here. Mussel. Some of that calamari and octopus. Man, that is outstanding. And the good thing is, like I said, the seafood in the bag is already cooked. So you got to be careful not to overcook it so that nothing comes out rubbery. Which this come out just right. I mean, of course your octopus and your squid and stuff sometimes naturally is rubbery, but the best part is taking some of this bread and sopping up some of that juice. Boy, that's a southern word right there, sop it up. Let's get a good bite on that. Man, that's good. Now, the one thing I'll say is I was going to put some seafood stock in this, but after looking at it, I decided it didn't really need it. So you make it to however you want to make it. If you don't want to use wine, maybe add some seafood stock, or even some chicken broth might work real well in it. Sky's the limit. It's an experiment. So hey folks, if you're like me and you're a Cheappino lover and you don't want to spend all the money, try this out. Make you a Cheappino, get that bag of seafood. I'm telling you, this come out great. And it didn't take me very long to make. I think I got maybe 15-20 minutes total of actually chopping things up, getting it all in the pot and cooking it here on the video. So this came out great. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to all you subscribers out there. I really appreciate all your support. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.